As the enemy soldiers started arriving in Karbala, Umar ibn Sa'd asked Husayn alayhi salam to move his camps away from the water. This was the first confrontation between the camp of Husayn alayhi salam and the Yazidi troops. Husayn's brother Abbas alayhi salam tried to put up some resistance, but Husayn alayhi salam restrained him and asked him to move a few miles away. This struggle between the two brothers has been narrated by many historians. Husayn alayhi salam, being the Imam of the time, wanted to set an example by showing that his mission was peaceful and that he was willing to avoid armed confrontation as much as possible. But on the 9th of Muharram, Umar ibn Sa'd ordered his army to attack the camps of Husayn alayhi salam. When the troops approached the tents, Husayn alayhi salam sent a message asking to delay the fight for one more night so that they could pray to their Lord and recite the noble Quran. Then Husayn alayhi salam gathered all of his followers and gave a sermon. He said, "I praise Allah that He has given us the Prophet and He has taught us the Quran and the religion. He has given us ears and eyes and hearts, and He has not made us idol worshippers. Indeed, I do not know any followers better than my followers, nor any family better than my family. May Allah reward you all. I think that our final day will come tomorrow with these enemies. I allow you all to leave me alone and to go on your own way. The night will give you cover with the darkness. Indeed, I am the one they want. When they get me, they will not go after anyone else." The family and loyal companions did not leave. The sounds of al-atash, thirst, and the cries of the children filled the desert and the skies above. The companions and the family of Husayn alayhi salam spent their night in prayers. Early in the morning, after Fajr prayers, each of the companions took turns to approach the Yazidi troops and address them formally. This was very important, as every companion of the Imam had a relative amongst the enemy. At last, Husayn alayhi salam himself rode out to the enemy and informed them who he was and how he was related to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Watching his troops listening to Husayn alayhi salam, Umar ibn Sa'd became concerned and put an arrow in a bow and shot it towards the Imam and loudly said, "Be witness that the first arrow is being cast by none other than the commander himself." This was the official beginning of the Battle of Karbala. After most of his male companions and family had been sacrificed, Husayn alayhi salam returned one last time to his tent to bid farewell to the women and children. The children and women cried, weeping and wailing loudly. Husayn alayhi salam replaced his clothes with the old clothes of the Prophet and changed his sword to the sword of the Prophet and said, "I am going to be killed, and I do not want anybody to take these old clothes from me." Then he climbed back onto his horse and rode towards the enemy, saying, "I am Husayn, son of Ali. Anyone who wants to fight me, come on." The battlefield reporters narrate that they could not believe that someone who had lost so many companions and family in a few hours could still be so firm in his decision and could still fight as bravely as Husayn alayhi salam did. When Husayn alayhi salam started to charge towards them, the army ran away from him. So Umar said, "This is a brave man of the Arabs. You cannot fight him one by one. Surround him on all sides." Husayn alayhi salam came closer to his tent one last time. The children clung onto him and he confronted them. Suddenly, arrows began to fly and the children and women ran to take cover. The Imam clenched his fingers around his sword and went after the troops, killing everyone that came in his way and repeating the phrase, "There is no help but from Allah." At last, he fell down on the ground and was not able to get back up. At the same time, a young boy came running to protect Husayn alayhi salam, but was attacked and killed by the soldiers. Husayn alayhi salam had no one to help him, and he himself lost so much blood. He was too weak to stand. No one from the enemy, however, wanted to start the murder of the grandson of the Prophet of Allah. They surrounded him and just stood there looking at him. Shimmer yelled, "Why are you looking at him? What do you expect him to do? If he were able to fight you, he would have. Finish him now that he is wounded." Ever since Husayn alayhi salam fell off his horse, the horse did not leave the Imam and kept circling around him. He then sniffed the body of his rider, whined very loudly, and went back to the tents. Lady Zainab saw the horse without its rider and came out of the tent and yelled, "O Ibn Sa'd, will you watch while Ya Abu Abdullah is being killed?" She then said, "Is there any Muslim amongst you?" But nobody replied to her. Shimmer then rode onto the chest and did the unthinkable. He severed the head of Husayn alayhi salam from his chest. Sounds of victory and drums were heard by the women and the children of the Prophet's household, who now knew that the Imam was martyred as well. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un.
دوست دارم